Welcome back. Your best day ever. I'm Eladio Valverde. So glad you could join us. I wanted to say a word about your best day ever. Every day that you survive is your best day ever, right? But there's some days that don't start out so well. And nowhere are we promised that we will have best days all the time. It'd be impossible. But it's our attitude, it's our faith, it's our optimism that gets us through. Any day that we survive is a great day. Any day that we know we can make it through is a great day. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that because the reality is sometimes life is hard. Sometimes your life just doesn't seem to go right. Your day doesn't start right. Your noontime isn't right. Supper doesn't seem right. And then you begin to think, gosh, am I even going to make it? Yes, you're going to make it. Don't even think anything other than that. You're going to make it. As an example, King David, one of my favorite psalms before, besides besides the number one, which is Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, is Psalm 121. And I used to read that and wonder, well, just what does it mean? And I studied more, and then one day I heard someone say that the very first verse gives it away. David's day did not start out very well. Verse 1 says, I lift up my eyes to the mountains or to the hills. Where does my help come from? And the reason, this professor said, is because on that morning, it was springtime, and in the springtime, the poet said, a young man's attention turns to love, but in those days in the Middle East, a king's attention turns to war in the springtime. And so that morning, David wakes up, goes out of his tent before he can even have his first sip of coffee or whatever he sipped. He looked up, and there was, on the mountain was his enemy. We're not talking about debt. We're not talking about deadlines. We're not talking about health concerns or relationship problems. These were finely trained killing machines known as the soldiers of the enemy king that had come against him on that day. Every one of them would love nothing more than to be the one to put an arrow or a sword through the king of Israel. How's that for starting a morning? But it took him maybe half a second for him to remember what he says in verse 2. Verse 1 again, I lift up my eyes to the hills or to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. And who is the Lord? He says, the maker of heaven and earth. And then he goes on to define all the things that confirm that he has his faith in the right place, in the right person, and that's God. He said, he will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. Friends, I can't think of a better thing to say for you to know that any day you survive is a great day. It's your best day because any day is survivable. Any day will get you through if you realize, number one, I'm not alone. Number two, God is with me. Number three, my help comes from God. So whatever you perceive as you start your day as being against you or coming to knock you down or worse, just say, no, my help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And then remember what David remembered. With God on my side, bring it on. I'm Eladio. I love you. I thank God for you. Make this your best day ever by trusting and believing that God is with you. Have a great day. Adios.